The Laine Cup in Scandinavia. It's the premier bowling tournament in this part of the world, and once again the Eurosport camera team welcome you to the Filbergen Super Bowl to bring you the 23rd edition of this event. Yes, once again we're in Ndrrkoping on Sweden's Baltic coast, a town once famous for its textiles and paper mills, and now one of Northern Europe's biggest carnival celebrations. Let's go inside and get ready to rumba with this year's final five. Defending champion Anders Hermansson, what a magnificent 12 months he's had since winning here a year ago. He is the 5th seed, looking to be the first back-to-back winner of the Laine Cup. 4th seed Peter Andersson, also from Team Sweden, leapt up from 11th place at 278 in the final block of 12, helping his cause no end. Age 29, first opponent for Anders. There's a Finn in there amongst the final five. Here's Toni, Laine, age 29, from Finland, qualifying in 3rd place, hoping to take the spoils home across the water at the end of this Stepladder final. 2nd seed Martin Blixt, another Team Sweden superstar, age 28. He's had a superb run to qualify in 2nd place. But the top seed, the one they all have to beat, it's a lady, and it's the indomitable Åsa Larsson, who's back to her best. A few years away from the scene as she raised a family. This 2-time world champion is the top seed here this weekend in Ndrrkoping. We're going to start in game 1 in frame 6. And Peter Andersson, the 4th seed, has a healthy 28-pin lead over the defending title holder. All his work cut out then to stay in the tournament. Andersson in the box seat as we join the action in frame 6 on our tournament TV pair. And I can tell you the Lanes are playing tough for this TV final. And that's a perfect example of just how tough they're playing too. Andersson with a loose shot. First up, we see Peter leading by 28 at the start of this 6th frame, but then into frame 7, he has a big split. 7, 6, 10, the 7-pin over to the left-hand side is of course the problem. So an open frame now gives Anders a chance to claw back some of the deficit. Well, Anders' game really has gone from strength to strength over the past year, building on the self-belief that tournament breakthrough gave him on these lanes a year ago, and he will challenge for this year's World Cup in singles play in Las Vegas at the beginning of October, representing his country. But he also with a loose shot as well, leaving the 285 here in frame 6. A rather simpler grouping than Andersson just had as he opened. Andersson had begun also with an open frame and then put together 4 straight strikes. And there's an open now coming from Hermansson as well. And that was a loose one. Should have taken out the 285. So frame 7, Hermansson still as you were, 28 pins behind. Set up position. Ball on its way into the pocket, 1-3, but nothing on the 7. So a 9-pin count. Magnus Jonsson on the right there, commentator for our Swedish audience here on Eurosport, but also the coach for Team Sweden in the men's division. This time has to do better with the spare shot, covers that 7. So an open for both players in frame 6. And then, as we see on the scorecard, in the 7th, Hermansson working on a spare, but down at this point by 28 pins. And his opponent began playing in 1974 from Finspång, and he's got a solid 10 leave. Good pocket shot. 6 just sat in the channel. No tap on the 10. Bowling at 209 last year, qualified with an average, tournament average of 225. And that high game, as we said, in the final qualifying round that squeezed him into the top 5, the best 278. But the big scores we've seen through qualification, over 200 players have been whittled down to these final 5, unlikely to be replicated here for the grand final, because they've dressed the lanes to make them tough. They traditionally like to sort out the men from the boys here. Oh no, washout for Andersson, and again a loose shot, and on the same lane too. This time coming in frame 8. 1, 2, 4, 10 leave. Very good golfer with a single figure handicap of 9. His favourite sportsman, David Duval. And not too much he could do with that washout leave. So another open from Peter Andersson within sight of the winning line. And his opponent, Hermansson, who really rode his luck to win here last year. Tournament average 218. And 11 pins ahead of the 6th place finisher. That was Juha Maha from Finland. So Hermansson just squeezing in, left it late with his charge. And that's what they're playing for. So Hermansson, the one amongst the final 5 who knows what it feels like to lift that winner's check here at the Filbergen Super Bowl. But he's got another single pin leave for his spare. Did it last time over on the left with the 7, and that time does it with the pin to the right, the 10 pin in frame 8. So he's got 10 back on that man. Both these players know each other well, of course, from the ultra-strong Swedish league format. Andersson on the left-hand lane, pocket shot, super strike. He was down 18 pins at that point, but a strike coming in just the right frame in frame 9. It's going to really put the pressure on Andersson. 28 pin lead has now gone down to 13. And Andersson has 2 frames to roll. Hermansson just the 1. High, little high. Too much rotation this time. Last time saw his shot too light into the pocket, left him with the washout. Overcompensated. Tricky. Trying to get a feel for the lanes here in the 9th, knowing the game is balanced on a knife edge. Oh, he's up early. Did not like it from the moment it slid off the hand. Just slides through the oil, no rotation, kept on going. And that's a really, really bad miss. Now Andersson is about to throw this game away unless he finishes with a very solid 10th frame. He's only got 157 showing in the 9th after 3 opens from the last 4 shots. Incredible. Now he's gone light again and almost duplicating. Oh, the coach behind can't bear to look. Well, left-hand lane last time left the washout. Not quite as bad this time, but still the 1-2-10. And a very tough spare again, hardly makeable really, and he needs every shot now. Nope. Andersson's going to score just 166. Would you believe? Frames 2 through 5. He puts together a 4-bagger. Seems to have it in the bag. And knows he's thrown it all away. He's thrown 4 open frames from the last 5. And that should make it safe for Hermansson. That's what he needed. Needed only a spare, but the strike makes him certain of progressing to game 2. And poor Peter Andersson there in the red shirt, well, it's laugh or cry time. Likes to relax with his girlfriend to music, especially of the romantic kind. And let's hope she's got something soft and sentimental to put on the record player this evening, because that man is in need of some consoling, I can tell you. And he'll be heading off shortly to the islands of Greece for a delayed holiday. But Peter Andersson is finishing here in 5th position as he goes down to defeat a game he had really in the grasp of his hand. Anders Hermansson, defending champion, is through game 1 at least. And he puts out Peter Andersson with a score of 184 to 166. So turns it around, 28 down at the midpoint. Hermansson through by 18 in a game that Andersson really threw away. We'll be back with game 2 after this. Welcome back, game 2. It's Toni Laine here in the dark from Turku, Finland. Bowling an average 210 for the year. We're in frame 7 and Laine is down by 12. The 3rd seed now up against winner from game 1, Anders Hermansson. Laine's qualifying average here this weekend. How about that? What a superstar this man has. Resplendent in the gold trim bowling shoes. Nice high backlift and big rotation with the whip through the wrist on the delivery point. Hermansson, frame 7. Can he do the same? Yes, he can. And there's the scorecard. Both guys putting together solid games, but Laine with just the one open so far in frame 3, which puts him marginally behind at this point in the Filbergen Super Bowl, as ever packed for this Scandinavia's top bowling tournament of the season. Another one for Hermansson in frame 8. Is keeping the pressure nicely on Toni from the Silver Club. Began playing in 1983, aged 29. That's a real passion.
Everybody.
Asked Toni if he preferred beating Swedes above all other nations. No, he said, they're all the same to me. I just love to win. Wasn't too happy doing that interview. Poor Tony's been suffering with a cold and a sore throat here this weekend. It was hard to get too much out of him. A typically gritty Finnish player. They just love to let their game express everything, putting all their energies into traveling around this part of Northern Europe. Had the best of all the final 5 in the final qualifying block of 12 games with a super high score of 287. Ball's on its way, looks good once again, yes. So Laine now with strikes in frame 8 and frame 9. He's got 3 running in the series and just the 10th to finish. Hermansson still with a 10-pin lead. And Toni now running out of frames, hoping the champ will make a mistake. From Borlänge, Sweden, the engineer has a rather light hit in the foundation frame. Frame 9. 5-8 leave. So with Toni working on strikes, just 10 pins for the spare ball bonus. And these two are dead-eyed level going into the 10th frame. It's a big year for you and for everybody in European bowling. You're planning to go to Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, it's fun. Of course, it's a lot of guys who want to go there, and I hope I showed the coach that I definitely want to be part of it.
Well, who would have thought Hermansson would be in the running for a place in the Swedish World Cup team? World Championships taking place in Abu Dhabi in November, but he's already made it to the Singles World Cup in Las Vegas at Samstown Casino in October, where he flies the blue and gold flag with the Swedish hopes on his shoulders. Well, that 12-month reign could be coming to a rapid end here in our second game. Filling behind the spare in frame 9, having thrown away the advantage he held as Laine found 3 in a row, and it's the pressure that's caused the problems. A 5-8 leave last time up. Now, even worse, the baby split, 3-10. No margin for error at all. Oh, yes, and he's got the bonus ball at the end of the 10th. And had he not made that, Hermansson would have been on the way out. That was a big moment. As wife Benita looking on, 2 of the 4 children are here. Toni travelling over from Turku on the ferry with just his coach. Anders, who likes to watch his kids playing football. And looking forward to a holiday vacation with the kids this summer in Ibiza. Filling end of the 10th, this is the bonus ball, all 10, and he may well need them as well, because Anders' score is just 206. Now, Toni will be doing all the calculations he needs. Another strike. And that should be good enough. Seven, 8 and 9 were all strikes, 3 in a row. Number 4 puts Toni into game 3 against the second seed, who's taking a long time with this shot. I don't always think that's a good sign. He's got to get the setup position right, but the longer you stand up there, suddenly the further those pins recede into the distance. Look at that. Steel fisheye stare from Toni. Oh, no, too far right. I wasn't getting back. He did well to get a count of 9. That's the 2 pin that remains standing. Now he has to spare and use his bonus ball shot. And if he strikes, as his opponent did, this the bonus shot that comes after a spare in the 10th, he will win by 1 pin and be that much closer to 50,000 Swedish crowns. It's got to be a strike for a 1-pin win. Yes. Yeah. Oh, no. Leaves the 7. He's got a 206. So has Anders. Nothing between them at the end of 10 tight frames. And gentlemen, if we can reset the computers, we require a roll-off. Well, it's the first ever tied game in the history of the Laine Cup at this stage of the tournament in the stepladder final. There you have confirmation. Hermansson's spare in the 9th was the key that let Toni back. And Magnus Johnson, Eurosport commentator for Sweden and men's coach to Team Sweden, just suggesting that they set the computers back to show frames 9 and 10. It's a 2-frame roll-off to decide the winner. Toni goes first. Came back well from that game, an open, the only one from Toni in the 3rd. And he's away with a strike. He's really fired up now. 7 perfect games in his career. Plays for the Silver Club in Turku. A factory foreman by profession. And loves to go swimming, he says, in the tropics, especially with the big fish. Well, watch out, Anders. the harpoon is pointing at you. First frame in the two-frame roll-off for the Swede. Oh no, soft nose hit. You don't come back from a shot like that in a two-frame roll-off. Well, that's dreadful. Still wobbling the 7. And these guys can take out 7 and 10 pins all day long when they're on their own, but the 6 pin out to the right is where Anders is aiming this shot. He needs just to get a sliver of it and take out that 7. He isn't going to do it. 6-7 is too much for Hermansson. That really was a very, very bad first shot in the roll-off. So what can he do now to repair the damage? Well, nothing but a strike, really. Maximise the score and hope that Toni slips up. There you go, there is the strike. Toni's not too bothered. What a bonus to see your opponent throw such a loose shot. Now, he's had his 2 frames technically, but of course with a strike. Needs to fill out the strike worth 10 plus the next 2. And this looks as if it's coming up with a 20-pin bonus. So it is a 20-pin bonus in frame 2, behind the 9 from the open frame from frame 1. So Hermansson's target, 29 pins. And Toni Laine, frame 2, building with a strike in frame 1, already with 10 on the board, plus the next 2. Oh no, he's gone high. And surely the only way Toni could have lost the game would be to throw a shot like that. And that's exactly what he's done. What a disaster. How can you do that when you've seen your opponent virtually hand you the game? 7 pin down on the left. But he hasn't just got the 6 to aim at, he's got the 9 and 10 as well. Oh, there's Benita with the red hair. She can't bear to look. Toni has got an almost impossible shot if he's to go through. He's gonna... too far right. Well, well, well. Only counting 7 in the second frame with that open, and he's lost the roll-off. Benita is a bundle of nerves. How does her husband feel? Hermansson, against all the odds, has gone through by 5, 29-24 in the roll-off to win game 2. It doesn't get more tense than that. They will be back with more and more Hermansson after this. Intriguing game up next. Game 3 pits the Team Sweden doubles pairing against each other. These two are good friends, both on and off the lanes in game 3 from the top of the game, frame 1. It's Anders Hermansson, the defending champion, against his doubles partner, Martin Blixt. In fact, as a warm-up yesterday, they won the doubles tournament here in Ndrrkoping. There must be something about this tournament. Anders last year had 5 Brooklyn strikes to win from Joni Helminen in the grand final. Martin Blixt has qualified in 2nd place here with a very strong average of 2-2-1. And he coasted through, really, always up with the front runners. In fact, he was in top position before the final qualifying block of 12. So Martin opens with a 9. Could be a big year, 99, going to Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, that's the goal for this year. So this will help me on the way.
Like all the Swedes, focused in on those World Championships. They know the coach is watching. And Martin Blixt, a 28-year-old salesman from Älvbågen, the Älvbågen club in Malmö, Sweden. There is the Swedish coach, Magnus, in the blazer. Linda Hagland, lady Swedish team member with the blonde hair. Frame 2 for Martin, and he'll try his luck over on the left-hand lane. No problems for him. That's the one that's been causing more problems for the players. But he's found the range and the line, and a perfect pocket strike to settle down Martin Blixt in frame 2. Spare and a strike to start. Anders, remember, 5 Brooklyn strikes here last year. That was nearly another one. He was high into the head pin. And the count is 9. The Danish master of 1996, here he is. The Swedish master a decade ago, and the titles seemed to have dried up for him until he broke the duck here last year. A tournament he had been trying to win for 15 years. I wouldn't be surprised if both Hermansson, that's his tournament average, if both of these players make the trip to Abu Dhabi. And that'll be more time for Anders away from his job as an engineer. And that's unlucky. Strong shot. Frame 3, another 10-pin leave. And he follows it down. Eyes never off the ball. Strong support from the family. Benita now slightly recovered after the excruciating tension of seeing her husband open up with a loose shot in the 2-frame roll-off against Toni Laine, and then somehow, against all expectations, coming through to keep his hopes alive in the tournament. Will he be a back-to-back winner here today? Oh, that's nice bowling from Martin. There's the rotation, beautiful angle to see that coming into the sweet spot. So he's doing it now on both right and left-hand lane, back to the left, and suddenly Martin, with 2 visits to the foul line, 2 strikes, is looking very comfortable indeed. Three in a row so far for his opponent. Hermansson needs to find one of his own, and he does in frame 4, his first since frame 1, following those 2 9 spares. Gives him 59 after frame 3. And Martin already with 50 in frame 2, and another 2 strikes to fill in there, so could well have 80 in frame 3 and a 21-pin lead if he keeps striking. But early days in game 3. Frame 5. Hermansson's across this time on the left-hand side. And there you see hitting the 1-2 pocket, which is the domain of lefties, not right-handers. And a baby split, the result. He took this out under pressure when it mattered against Laine. He can't repeat the feat. We saw him do that at the end of game 2. A shot that kept him in the tournament, but he's opened in frame 5. 87 at the midpoint for Anders. He got away with a sub-200 total in game 1 when Peter Andersson completely folded. And the second game, 206, pretty low as well. As we said, tournament director Alcubius with 25 years in the business, does like to make the lane conditions tough here for the grand final of Sweden's Premier Bowling Tournament. So after 5 frames, Hermansson's sorry scoreline reading 87. And Martin Blixt with 4 strikes running. And a handy lead, because there's number 5.
The lane changes, so you have to move in the lane.
So
you don't always know which where is the best to play the ball.
So how do you work that out?
Feeling. You look at the ball and see how it reacts in the lane.
Well, he certainly has got that feeling. Five bagger into frame 6 for Hermansson. Doesn't need spares. Not with his opponent striking every time he gets out of his seat. That's another one that's a couple of boards wide of the margin again. All just slides on there through the oil. And get the bite back you're seeing from Martin. Oh dear. Oh dear. That 210 means another open frame for Anders Hermansson. One in the 5th and another one in the 7th. So this is Blixt on a 5-bagger as he steps into frame 7. And he can really race away with this game now. Yes, he's certainly reading the lane superbly. Hasn't really looked like missing since frame 1. He's got it all worked out in his mind. And just as I say that, he slides long on the left-hand lane and possibly gives Anders a glimmer of hope. 1-2-10 leave, 7 count after 6 in a row from the 28-year-old. Plenty of Swedish team titles. Oh, yes, indeed. Super stuff. Big takeout in frame 8 from Blixt. Textbook superb. You don't see that done very often. The 1-2-10. The 1 pin flying out, taking down the 10. And look at that, really all going against Anders now. That wasn't a bad shot. I'd like to see if that was in the pocket. Yes, it was. Nothing wrong with it. And the pins don't want to behave for you when it's going against you. And perhaps Anders has used up not just this year, but also last, his reservoir of good luck. And this surely is the end of the road for the 1998 champion. He's got the big 2 in frame 8. Impossible split 7-10. And 122 with just 2 frames to run for last year's winner. And it's time to hand back the trophy. Anders Hermansson. Pressure off, and it all becomes rather easy, of course, when that happens. Then he's had 3 opens from the last 4. That strike comes in frame 9, so Anders will finish, by which time this man, his doubles partner and fellow team Swede, Martin Blixt, will be over the finishing line and out of sight. So Martin engaged to Jessica. Plenty of titles with Team Sweden, but no major singles championships yet to his name today. That could all change. Stokes up for the game of bowling, which is a long season here in Scandinavia through the winter. A lot of driving over long, flat, icy roads. Well, his mother's Swedish meatballs is what keeps Martin going, he tells us. But he's also, like quite a number of these Swedes, a very useful golfer. And would love to go to Thailand and enjoy some of the golf courses down in that part of Southeast Asia. But at the moment, he says Jessica just won't let him go there. I wonder why. So, a friendly handshake as Martin Blixt rolls all over the defending champion. Anders Hermansson is toppled from the throne. And just to complete the 10th frame, the strikes that have come too late to save him now. But if he was going to lose to anybody, I'm sure that Anders will be more than happy to see his colleague Martin go on and lift the crown here in 1999. Well, there's one person who'll have a big say in what transpires in our final game, and that, of course, is the top seed and one of the legends of Swedish bowling, Åsa Larsson. It'll be Larsson against Martin Blixt. Hermansson, however, he's had a great 12 months. He will be going to Las Vegas. I'm sure he'll also be going to the Middle East, to the World Championships, but a very disappointing 171 for him as the luck really ran out against Martin Blixt. Big time strikes from him. 2-4-5 takes him into our grand final, which comes right up after this. So it's the top two seeds who have the natural wood lanes here all to themselves to decide the winner of the 1999 Les Lions Cup from Norrköping, Sweden. And this, the legendary Åsa Larsson, probably the best lady bowler of the last 10 years, just going through her preparation from Tronas in Sweden. Anders gets a little comfort from Benita, and how he's deserved it as well. He's had a great run once again this year, but falling to Åsa's opponent in this grand final, Martin Blixt, with a superb 2-4-5. So here we go. The best woman bowler, not just from Sweden, but possibly anywhere in the world. Well, over a decade ago, Team USA and many of the lady bowlers here in Europe began building up and playing with the 16-pound bowling ball, the same as the men, and they've been for many years now telling us they're every bit as good as their counterparts in the men's division. Well, this tournament uniquely gives them the chance to prove just that fact. So Åsa, who will certainly be a tough opponent for Martin. This woman is a winner, make no mistake about that. She's methodical, very focused, won't be rushed, certainly won't allow herself to be psyched out. She's got a 10-pin for a spare in frame one. She begins, she will finish. The top seed. That's a magnificent performance in itself. She was rolling a 230 average in the final block of 12, had a 277 as well along the way. And that brings her up against the number 2 seed, Martin Blixt. Now, if he continues with that super strike form we saw as he demolished Hermansson with a big 6-bagger in the match before this one. Can he keep it going? Yes, he can, just enough on the 7. So Martin straight back in the groove. There's a beautiful big cutback on the ball. Certainly seemed to prefer the right-hand lane to the left today in Norrköping. Larsson just seeing what she can divine from getting a sight line behind Blixt's arm as he threw in frame one. Now he's across to the slightly trickier left-hand lane. And he's got another one, so a double. Keeps Blixt hot. And he's got the rhythm early up. Åsa Larsson now has spent the best part of an hour watching seeds 5, 4, 3 and 2 sparring. She's got to go straight to her game with no time whatsoever to warm up. They both get a couple of throws each, and then it's game on. She's coming into frame 2 behind an opening 9 spare. The 1991 World Cup singles champion in Beijing, the European Cup individual gold champion 1994, and we asked Åsa if she was still hungry for more tournament wins.
I still want to play tournaments, yes. I want to be around, I want to be with my friends, and I really love to bowl and to be here, yes. It's also always fun to be in Norrköping.
Well, it's a tournament she's never won, although she's cleaned up in just about every other part of Sweden. Whoa! Really urging that one on. And she's been away from the big time for a couple of years, raising a family. Her and her husband one day have ambitions to own and run a bowling centre of their own. And here's today proving that once a winner, always a winner, right back in the big time. And 2 strikes after an opening spare. And for the first time, Martin misses in frame 3. Leaves that 4-pin. Shouldn't be a problem for the right-hander. He's unhappy with himself, however, for not getting all 10. But a minor blemish only on the scorecard. And so both players now have 2 strikes and 1 spare from their opening 3 frames. And this is the number 2 seed in frame 4. He's going a little bit wide this time. Not quite enough of an angle for that ball to come back. Sliding too long, and leaves the 2 pin. So out comes the spare ball, which he looks to throw hard, fast and straight, and right on the target. Now 2 from Larsson to come. Oh, thank you. She walks right across the camera frame. Letting her emotion show. Members of the local press here in the front row, writing it up for tomorrow's Swedish newspapers, where bowling gets tremendous coverage. And not this time. Eight pin in the back row of 4. So Larsson too showing that she can knock off the spares. Blixt, the day 1 leader, finished second to Åsa in the final qualifying round, but has impressed many over the weekend right from the off with his unflappable and consistent bowling. Had the look of a winner, many said. Well, certainly we have the top 2 seeds going head-to-head here in our grand final. It couldn't get better than that. Aha. Yes, last time out there he was too far to the right and missed the pocket. And inevitably this time over rotation and a high hit from Martin. Nice. Also looking pretty relaxed there, sharing a joke with Anders. Martin in frame 6 has the 3 pin for his spare. So for the moment, Blixt is touch deserting him as he struggles to get those strikes going once again. Larsson in frame 6, still wanting to win everything she enters.
I'm always hungry when I'm on the lanes. I don't want to lose. I play because I want to win, yes.
And every single emotion there underlined by those words. You can see the look, the will to win, undimmed by those few years away with the family. Frame for her in the 6. Here she comes into frame 7. For the 3rd frame in a row. She only has 7 down. She has 9 down, excuse me, leaving the 7 pin. So 3 strikes to be followed by 3 9 spares. The 2 pin it was, the final pin that time up. Now Martin Blixt, he's also finding strikes hard to come by. That's more like it from him. Frame 7. Hasn't been able to put together a double so far in this game, however. Can he do it this time on the left-hand lane? There, yes, he can. So we have a 1-pin game here. Martin's got a double going, and there's just 1 pin between them, also with a very, very slender advantage. Can she counter with a strike in the 8th? That's raised her game. And she needed to do that too. First one since the 4th. The agony of 3 consecutive 9 spares. Gentleman in the yellow t-shirt is Peter Eklund, Team Sweden ladies coach, so he'll be looking critically at Åsa's game. Should she perhaps be available for Abu Dhabi? Well, that's still to be resolved. Something she has to go home and discuss with the family, she tells us. But I'm sure the pull of another World Championship, she was there in Reno, where she was the runner-up, silver medal 4 years ago. And if the offer comes from the coach to go down to Abu Dhabi and perhaps turn silver into gold, could she walk away from the challenge? Not if I know Åsa Larsson. Ooh, no, Martin. Just when he thought he'd found his rhythm back, he goes high over the head pin and leaves the 3-9. That's a bad shot. So into the final 5 minutes of match play, and now the lanes are giving both our finalists a headache. Too thin on the 3. Ball goes one way, pin goes the other. Sleeper 9-pin gets no contact. And Martin Blixt has, in the 9th frame, made a major error. 184, top of the 10th. 214, the top score he can manage, and certainly not now. 204 if he spares and strikes. 204 is what Martin's looking at to win the trophy. Oh, I wouldn't want to put money on that. He's got to get these, and he has. Now suddenly that open frame coming in the 9th, and Martin, who hadn't missed all through his game against Hermansson, spares and strikes solid every time he stepped up to the foul line. And again he sprinted away with a double. Then a mix of spares and strikes slowed the game somewhat. And then in the 9th frame, that bad miss on the 3-9, a strike to finish. It's 204, but he's handing Åsa Larsson now a major opportunity to grasp the trophy, because as she checks the scorecard, thanks to that excellent strike of her own coming in frame 8, she needs just 9 now behind a spare. 9 pins will do it, and there they are. Martin can look and check, but the 9 count is enough. Even if she doesn't hit this, she has 205 after 10 frames, and she's 1 pin clear. She's over the finishing line, and she's right back in the big time. The top seed, the lady bowler, has come to Ndrrkoping, and out of 202 opponents, shown everybody how to play the game. I don't think she realizes that doesn't matter. A loose shot there to miss her spare. No bonus ball at the end of the 10th, but it's all academic now, because Åsa Larsson at 36 has another major tournament to her name. And what a wonderful achievement that is, to beat the best in the men's game from Scandinavia. 205 to 204. Åsa Larsson really has some head searching to do now. Is she going to get back into it full time? The World Singles Cup in Las Vegas beckons in October. I'm sure they'll be asking her to go to Abu Dhabi as well. Yes, she said, I feel really great. Too emotional for more words. The 1999 Laine Cup winner from Sweden, Åsa Larsson. Congratulations from everybody on Eurosport.